Okay, I know today's video we are having this topic that many times in our workaday world we experience all kinds of frustrations and setbacks. We feel fear, we feel anxiety, we loneliness. Uh, they are very common occurrences with all of us, including me. Now the question, so we have these two things. One is that we have less number of these feelings, less number of frustrations, and second is once we have them, then how do we bounce back quickly from them? So today I'm talking about the second aspect that it is unavoidable. We have to have these problems once in a while, in a day or every day. So we are going to experience these feelings. So how is it that we can come out of them in the quickest possible time, or are not badly affected by them for a long time? And what are those sources of positive energy which we can just tap and we can uh, get back to a sense of well-being and confidence. There may be many people. We are we are all mature people. We are used to bouncing back, and we all have our own strategies. So today I will share with you that what are the strategies that I generally use. uh, there are three broad categories of strategies which I use. The one is that what I call the alchemy of feelings. Alchemy is when you transform one kind of feeling into another kind of feeling. And the second strategy is sublimation. That how do I sublimate those feelings into some positive aspect? And third is we can cope with using defense mechanism also, and cannot let those feelings touch us and run away from them, which is not very functional but can be used in emergencies or when we are too much burdened with. So these are the three main strategies that all of us use. So I repeat these strategies. The first is there's an alchemy of feeling. We convert those negative feelings into positive feelings. I'll tell how it happens. What is the process of alchemy? This alchemy words come from when people used to use all chemical processes to convert steel into gold. So that was called alchemy. So this is alchemy of feelings is when you convert your painful loss, suffering, frustration, unmet expectations, fear, loneliness, anxiety, etc. into some better feeling, sense of well-being, happiness, or convert it into a sense of satisfaction. So you alchemy do the alchemy of these feelings into that. And second that I have shared, I am repeating it just for the sake of clarity. The second I said is sublimation, where we can use these feelings and sublimate them into some creative pursuit, which is also very functional. And third, which can be functional or dysfunctional, is we use defense mechanism and run away from these feelings and don't let them touch. It can be used when we are overly burdened and coping with too much of pressure and are it beyond our capacity to deal with such pressure. So at that moment it is okay to use defense mechanism, but in general if we keep using them it can be dysfunctional. So these are the three main strategies that all of us use uh, as far as dealing with the feeling. The other is how do we get the positive energy, direct source of positive energy, so that our mood becomes better. And that for that I am using internal self awareness and meditation, which is also a form of sublimation and the first process, combination of alchemy and sublimation. So I this is broadly what I am going to talk about today. Now, the first is the alchemy of feelings. This, I think, is a very great blessing to human beings. And this is a very core process which can transform my life, your life, everybody's life around. You see, for instance, in this, what I say is, supposing I am expecting, let me share with you some a very simple example. Supposing I am going on a road, crossing in my car, and in Delhi, in the traffic, we often see that I'm expecting that on red light, people will not come from the opposite direction where they're supposed to stop on the red line, and mine is green line. I have to cross. And when I'm crossing the green light, I find somebody else coming from the red light who's supposed to be stopping and not crossing, should be on the red light. But that person is driving his car from that side. Now, it is totally unexpected. So I feel frustrated and then I get angry. I'm telling you the real experience. This is what happens to me. Now, how do we do the alchemy that this uh, frustration of expectation that people will follow rule is, instead of converted into anger and frustration and unhappiness and spoiling the mood, it can convert into a better feeling. How can we how is it possible, you know? So then, how do I convert that frustration and anger into something of use to me? How can I convert that feeling into that? That is the most important point. Well, let me share with you what strategy I did. Before I start my car and get out of my campus into the road, I tell myself, look, you are going to a mental gymnasium. Now you will come across people who will be violating these laws of traffic rules. And so what I have to do is, when somebody has traffic, I have to use it as a gym where I have to become aware that this frustration is happening, and then I say, okay, I expect people to do this, and I have to protect my mood and not spoil it. So this is my gym, where you are exercising the mental gym. So when I go with this attitude and see and become aware when somebody does it, so one is I have changed my expectations. So I have taken the responsibility. I'm not saying these people are bad, they don't have manners, they are doing this. I'm not blaming them. I'm saying, okay, what can I do under these circumstances that I don't spoil my mood? So one is I have lowered my expectations. I have already expecting that some people will do it, so it is not unexpected. And secondly, it is a gym for me, so I look forward to it. Okay, let's see what happens when happen. So then this frustration is not happening, or if it is happening, I'm converted into seeing, okay, how much mental discipline I have been able to, that I have not been able to, I have been able to preserve my mood. This is one example. uh, Similarly, other examples is often that, supposing I expect uh, my son to do something for me, which I'm having this expectation from him. And you know and that expectation is not met, and I feel frustrated. So what do I do? So that at that time, I say, okay, if my expectation was this, my son would do what I had told him to do, and he has not done it. I will say, okay, how can I ensure that my son meets my expectations? So I go and negotiate with him and tell him if it is possible, if it is not possible. If I So I work on how can I improve my skill to ensure that my expectations are accepted by him, and he meets those expectations. So basically what I'm saying is that alchemy of feelings happens when, instead of blaming the other, the traffic violators or my son or my junior or other people around me, I say, what can I do? So I take the responsibility. So this theme, I already said, is going to come again and again. So this is one of the best ways where those feelings are converted into your sense of well-being, and your skill is improved. The third example I want to quote is, I was this I have quoted in my book also long time back. It was so I was going on this Aurobindo Marg, and I was looking for Aurobindo Ashram, and I was driving. I was not able to see it. So suddenly I saw the board of Aurobindo Ashram and I pressed the brake. Unfortunately, one motorcyclist was coming from behind me and he almost touched me, and almost it was about to be an accident for him and for me, of course, hitting at the back of my car. But it did not happen. He was able to put the brake, but he came next to my window and started abusing me. My first reaction at that moment was to hit back, but then I just held back and I said, no, I am responsible. I am the one who suddenly, without any indicator, just pressed the brake. Of course it is his responsible to take care because he's coming from brake, but still I have to be responsible and I have to be careful while I'm driving. So 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 I'm saying there were two reactions possible. One was impulsive, was that I just get back at him that you are misbehaving with me, and I get angry, and there's a road rage, and we start fight, and then both of us, our mood is spoiled, and we feel bad about it, and you part with feeling low and low self-esteem and with all the spoiled mood. The other, suddenly I found it. I told him I'm sorry. It is my mistake, and then I also told myself that okay, you're responsible, you have to learn to drive more responsibly and more carefully. So you should be very careful. It is your responsibility, drive carefully on Delhi roads. So this I tell myself, and suddenly I found that hurt which was there because of his abusing me vanished, and that hurt was replaced by calm. That hurt was replaced by my resolve that okay, I'll be more careful while driving, and be careful about this braking. That is when I suddenly realized that okay, this is the alchemy of feeling. This was way back in 2001 or 2, because my first book came out in 2004, so I had written it in that book. So that was the time I realized, okay, look, the moment you take responsibility instead of blame, that hurt gets transformed into a calmness and a resolve and motivation to be a better driver. So this was the most fantastic insight for me, and I still feel till date. I believe this is one of the most fantastic insight which has released me from lot of bad moods and spoiled relationships and fights and anger and frustration. There you will find there are umpteen number of ways you can use this. The problem is that it is very easy to blame others. It is very easy to say the fault lies with others. So that is the problem, and that is why we tend to go into that direction and not taking responsibility is little a difficult proposition. But I would like you to experiment and work on this. This is if once you get into this understanding, the life becomes much better. So this is a very good way to come out of negative frustrations that we experience every day. What? Taking responsibility rather than putting the onus onto other people. As I said, I will repeat this. This theme will be repeated many times, but because this is the most transforming insight into human psyche I have come across. There's a lot more in it. The lot more is there. I have even given this spiral of suffering, a spiral of liberation, and cycle of suffering based on this, which is a still deeper concept onto which I am not going right now. Okay, the second thing that I have talked about is how we can, come out of these negatives and go into the positive territory is sublimation. There are times when it is not possible to meet what you desire. For example, this often happens that in love affairs, it's a very common thing that you want to marry somebody, you love somebody, but because of certain reasons, you're not able to do, maybe caste or family or some other block comes in and you're not able to meet in that love. So what I mean, how do you deal with that frustration? So it's a very well known that oh ye to shayar ban gaye or ye to, so that is actually what people are doing is they're sublimating their frustration into poetry, into some painting, into something else. Similarly, many people who talk to me and they're feeling frustrated, I suggest them that look, nature has given one very beautiful process to you, which is creativity. And when you sublimate your frustration into frustration can be in any field. Frustration can be that you wanted certain career, you wanted to become doctor, you could not, so you're doing something else, or you wanted to get into some profession, you could not, and you're doing something else. So there can be very deep rooted frustrations. So for that, is that you can sublimate them using some creative process. And that creative process can be in any field. It can be in poetry, it can be in painting, it can be in cooking, it can be in fashion designing, it can be in writing, it can be in stories, putting out stories, it can be in film editing, or I mean there are innumerable ways in which you can uh, convert that frustration into some creative exercise. Now, why I'm saying creative, like, well, this is something very important which I want to emphasize. Look, what is creativity? Creativity is basically a process where we are connecting two unconnected ideas previously, and we bring them together and create something new. For example, even in fashion, all the fashion accessories are available. The clothes is different kinds of clothes are available. The different kinds of accessories are available. Different kinds of cuts and designs are possible. So you are using that entire combination of clothes and accessories and design and cuts and create something of aesthetic value, which the wearer enjoys wearing, and the onlookers enjoy looking at the aesthetics. So something new has been created out of that. Or in the kitchen, so you have all those common ingredients, but you combine them in different proportion, in different way, heat them in different proportion, and create something which has a very different taste, and you enjoy it. So that you will find that the moment you are able to do something creative, it gives you a lot of delight. So that delight has no comparison. I tell you, this is the delight of creation is one of the finest delights given to human beings. So even right now, when I'm talking to you, even this, there is a verbal creativity. How I am trying to convey the ideas that I want to convey to you in a simple way that you understand. This also requires creativity. If I am able to structure my entire presentation and tell you few important points in a simple way which you are able to remember, that's highly creative for me. I'll be very happy about it. That okay, look, I was able to present this idea in a such a way that people could understand and use it and implement it in their lives. So creativity is endless creativity in there. Now I give another example. I say, when you are not doing something routine, you feel bored. And when you do something creative, you get some creative insight, you create some new product, or you get some creative insight, or you write a story. It is very, very satisfying, fulfilling, and joy giving. On the one side, when you do something routine, continuously keep doing the routine, you feel bored. On the other side, when you do something creative, you feel very happy. Is a delight of creativity whenever there is. Even wit and humor is an example of creativity. So you feel so happy. So the what is the message nature is giving in this? It bores you when you're routine. It gives you happiness. So what is the message of nature? The nature is giving message to man that you should be creative. If you will not be creative, I'll punish you with boredom. If you will be creative, I'll reward you with happiness and joy. So the message of nature is very great. So what I am now combining is, look, you will bound to get some frustration, some loneliness, some boredom, some unmet expectation, fear. So all those you can use and convert into some creative pursuit, or even problem solving. So you are afraid, you have some fear, so how can you resolve that fear? Think of ways to resolve that fear. How you are anxious about some future event or some future happening, so use that anxiety to solve that problem and be more creative. So sublimation of these feelings into some creative solution, into some creative pursuit, into something which is going to be of use to you, to others, is aesthetic, creates humor or something, so that you will get a lot of delight, and you will get lot of happiness out of. So you have converted the frustration into happiness, you have converted the boredom into a delight. So isn't it beautiful? Isn't this process beautiful? I think this is very amazing and extremely beautiful. So second is that you sublimate whatever, some deep rooted frustration, some deep rooted loneliness, or some element. So convert it into some creative pursuit, and you will find that you are out of that. You have actually used that fuel of that feelings, negative feeling, into deriving something positive. Okay. The third one is defense mechanism. I have been touching on this many times. Now, this is it that nature has given us varieties of defenses where we don't let the feelings, negative feeling, touch us, or we are able to run away without doing it. I do not recommend this method. For example, this is, say somebody is getting late, has come late, and he says, so you ask him why you are late. So the general answer would be because of the traffic. So it's a rationalization, seems like a logical reason, but that's not, may not be the correct reason, because you can start little early and manage that traffic. Or generalization, I'm not the only one who's not paying income tax, everybody else is not paying income tax. So that guilt which I feel for not paying income tax goes away. So when I generalize it, so if you say, okay, you are putting on weight, "Abhi is umar mein to weight ho, in this age you can put on weight," and all that. So what is it I'm saying is that we give those reasons and run away from that feeling, which we would feel either guilt or bad or sad or whatever. So we don't let those feelings touch us, and we don't change also. We don't improve ourselves, we don't overcome our weaknesses, because we have defended our position, and we don't need to do anything for that reason. Now this is in general not helpful, not functional. Supposing I'm overwhelmed, I'm already coping with my financial troubles, I'm already having a lot of issues, and somebody gives me the feedback that you should reduce your weight, or you should exercise in the morning, or say you're not behaving properly. So I may not have energy to deal with those at that moment. I say it is functional, that because right now my priority is dealing with my financial losses, and I'm so coped up and busy. Or right now my priority is my dealing with my relationships, and I have already overburdened with them. So at that moment it is okay to use those defenses and not let them touch you. So you can have the skill, that you have the discretion when you will allow the, or are open to receive the feedback and accompanying feelings which you will have to deal with. Or you can block yourself temporarily, so that you are not affected by it. It's a very good practice to have this skill. The power has to be in you. When I'll block others from giving, block myself and not open to receive feedback, and I can choose when I'm ready to open myself to receive the feedback. And so this discretion is with me, and I should be able to use it. I don't need to receive everybody saying something or the other and get myself be affected and become dysfunctional in the process. So that is the third strategy I recommend, that you should have the skill to see when you have to block yourself and when you have to open yourself to receive the feedback. So these are the three coping strategies I have suggested. So now the other one that now I want to talk about is that what is the source of positive energy that I can take on daily basis, so that I am, these feelings are not affecting me so much. If otherwise, if they would, if I don't have that source of positive energy, I'll be affected. Now for this I have fortunately discovered one way, and that way is that you get into, fix some time in the morning or evening or at night or before sleep. You fix some time every day, maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour. For example, I have fixed that in the morning from 4:30 or 5 or 4 o'clock or what time I get up, from to 6 o'clock, 6:37, around 1 hour, 1.5 hours, I'll sit quietly, get into chant some mantra or om. I chant, I take God's name also, and also observe myself. So that is the time I use, and I am able to observe myself. Now what happens is when I sit there in the morning, uh, people say you should get into silence. That is the meditation. But I have a very different understanding of meditation. Say in the morning when I go and sit quietly, all those things which happened yesterday, in the last 24 hours or even earlier, the thoughts about them will come, the feelings about that will come. So what happens is during the day to day, we may not be able to touch all the feelings and just smother them and just take them for granted. But when I sit in the morning, all those things which I might have suppressed, repressed, they start rising in my consciousness. So I'm just aware, I'm not judging it, I'm just letting all those thoughts and feeling arise. Say it takes about 15, 20 minutes or sometimes maybe half an hour. When all those during the day, those feelings are acknowledged and released. You see, merely acknowledging the feeling, owning them, and letting them go also is a catharsis of those feelings. So once those, and also become aware of how and what things are affecting me right now in this moment, or yesterday how they impacted me, and letting them be released. So once those 15, 20 minutes of catharsis of those feelings happen, after that my mind becomes relatively quiet. If earlier it was going at a faster pace and more feelings were coming, then that part reduces, and my I get into more of a silence and quiet mode. And then I am able to get more insights, opening of like onions layer. So you start getting into deeper layers of your own self. Now what is this onion layer thing? This is very important. You remember there are various layers of your own consciousness, and sometimes we are in touch with the upper layer, sometimes we are in touch with the deepest core of ourselves. Now what are these layers? Just saying layer doesn't help. Layer is on the top of the surface, maybe some thought. Behind that thought will be some feeling. Behind that feeling will be some belief and attitude. Behind that belief and attitude will be some value. Behind that value will be the self image. So these are the layers. The deepest core is my self image or ego, and the topmost is some thought which is floating in my consciousness. So during the day to day, even right now when I am talking, I am not so much in touch with my deepest core. I'm more in touch with the thoughts that I am talking to you. For example, I will share with you one example. I even it happened about 3 4 days ago. I was talking to my wife and I was telling him that I wish our son Samik would take up, restart playing his golf, which he was very good at. He had gone to almost junior national level, regional level, and after that he left because of his education and all that. And she said, "Why you keep on, putting pressure on him to do all this?" So then I said, "Look, listen." Then this was the thought level. Now, what is the deeper level layer happening? So deeper level, I had gone in the morning to practice golf, and there was one this guy, and he was hitting driver very nicely, very long shot, and I felt inadequate that he can do this and I can do this, and I knew that that requires a lot of practice and a lot of hard work, and I'm not willing to put in that much practice and hard work because I don't want to spend that much of time. It's not my priority. But then how do I deal with, there was, but still there was a sense of inadequacy. Now in that inadequacy, I said, how do I deal? See, look at how the mind works. So inadequacy, I said, okay, I'll ask Samik to play well. So he's my son. In some way, I am fulfilling my inadequacy through him because he plays well. He can hit that well. He has done that much. And from there, this thought came that I'll tell him that he should do this. Now, look at this is a deeper layer. Deeper layer is that I felt inadequate, and I am now not willing to fulfill that inadequacy by working myself hard on it. But I know my son is good in it, so I will fulfill my inadequacy through my son. So my ego is his ego. If he does it, my ego is satisfied. So look at the how deep is this goal. And then when I told her this, okay, then I analyzed at this level. I shared with her, and she says, okay, now I understand. But I said, I'm not serious. I don't mean to put pressure on him on something about which he doesn't want to do it. But this is what I understand. This is a thought comes to me, a desire comes to me. So now I have shared. So this is a deeper layer of what this. So deeper layer at the ego level, I will be fulfilled when my son, who is also my ego, will be able to achieve that level of perfection in that God. He's already as much good in that. So look at how the mind operates. The deeper layers, if you go on peeling those layers, you come to know. And the moment I realized this, I was free. And there's a lot of work which needs to be done on everyday inadequacy that we keep feeling all the time and get into new becoming journey. So that's a separate matter which is not the focus of attention today. So today the focus of attention is that how do I reach access that deeper source of positive energy. So the moment I get in touch with this deeper dimension within me and I own it, I'm able to see it, and then I'm able to let go of that inadequacy, I feel very free and positive. So that is what happens when you sit quietly and watch yourself and observe yourself and go deeper into and peel the onion layers and keep going down and down and see, okay, what is the feeling behind this thought, okay, what is the belief and value behind this thought, okay, what is my self image, what is it. Now in this case it was inadequacy. Value was I should excel in everything, and since I had no time to excel, there was ego was involved. So I was okay finding a way to solve that problem through that, through my son, and putting pressure on him unnecessarily, creating problem for him further. But the moment I realize this process, I am not going to put pressure on him. I am free, he is free, he is not going to be troubled by his inadequate father. So that is what the freedom is. So when we understand these deep processes which are influencing our life every day, every time, that is when you become free. That is why I strongly recommend that all of us should spend 25, 30, 40 minutes every day into that exercise, whatever name you want to give it. I call it meditation, and that is how I get more insights. So it is just one example I've given. I get a lot of insights into and about my mind, which I am sharing with you. So, for example, today I have created this structure that okay, these are the three kinds of ways in which we can, transform these negative feelings into positive feelings. And then I said, okay, this is the source of positive. So all this structuring, this understanding, I get when I reflect, not by reading. I don't. I'm not sharing what I'm telling you is not through reading. That's why it has got pragmatic, appeal. That is why it has, which you can implement in your life. And as perhaps I have shared or may not be shared. So the learning occurs when we are going through experience, and then we reflect on it, and then we learn something from it, and then we apply that learning, and then we have a better experience. So is a complete cycle. So for learning, I have to have experience, and in that experience I have to reflect back on that experience, that what went right, what went wrong, what gave me pain, what gave me delight. And like for example, I've shared with you that creativity gives joy, and non-creativity gives boredom. So this is my experience. So when I reflect on that experience, I come to this learning that and then I say, okay, how can I be more creative in whatever I do? So I apply that, and when I apply that, I get more delight. So people have experiences, but if we don't reflect on those experiences, we are not going to get those insights, the joy of insight that we get, the creativity of connecting the various dots and getting to understand something deeper. So that joy we are not going to get. And once we get that, then we apply it, and once we apply it, we get greater joy in our life. So it's a virtuous cycle that we move into, virtuous spiral that we get into through this process of learning. So, in this, what is my message? The other source of positivity, you should reflect on your experiences. So, unless you reflect on your experiences and derive some learning out of it and apply that learning in your life, eh, you are going to be most likely caught in the rut, the routine, the boredom. The boredom will be there, lack of enthusiasm will be there, lack of happiness will be there. So I have shared with you that these are the that positive source of energy is within you. You don't need to get it from seeing the movie or listening to some music or something else from outside. It is already within you. So the focus of energy, if it is there in looking at within me and getting these insights and joys and creativity, that gives me lot of energy. Nija, sorry, joined too late. Doesn't matter, Nija. Late is okay as long as you are there and able to listen to me, and we can connect on this. Thank you so much for joining. Please say hello to me. Yes, Ritu is also Sangi saying very interesting. Great, thank you. It is very encouraging when I see your name and in front of that I see your message. It gives me a lot of happiness that okay that people are joining and they are able to make some use of what I am talking about it. Okay, Amancha, hello sir. Always wonderful to listen to your words of wisdom. Well, thank you, Aman. I miss you many times. Please talk to me sometimes. I'm missing talking to you also on phone. Yeah, thank you very much that you have joined and appreciating me. It gives me energy to hear you say this. Okay, I'll just wait. We are almost at 7:42. So I would like to summarize and before I close. So I'm saying that look, this life has designed human life in a very beautiful and fantastic way, and it gives the painful feelings so that you can use them and convert them into positive happy feelings. I have shared three ways with you. One is taking responsibility, it transforms the negative feeling. Second, I have said is you can sublimate these negative feelings into some creative pursuit. Third, I have said become more aware of your defenses. You can use them sometimes and become open. So it's your discretion, so it gives you a lot of power. And the fourth one I have said is that every day spend 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes to sit quietly. You know, some people suggest that you should do it at the fixed time because then your mind becomes conditioned and it is easier to go into depth of yourself, and lot of processes will be released. So fifth I've said is that you release lot of um, uh, ignorance, and so so you become more free. Those processes are revealed to you, you become more free at light. So these are the five six things I have shared today. According to me, they are very valuable and they have helped me transform my life from unhappiness to happiness, and this journey is continuing. Somebody has beautifully said that we are all like alcoholic anonymous group, where somebody is deeply addicted, somebody is somewhat addicted, somebody has come out of addiction and sharing the life. So it's like that we are all have to go through all these emotions, and we are all struggling to deal with them, and we are all in journey somewhere. Somebody is little ahead, somebody is little behind, but we are all in the same journey. So we are sharing this journey, and I'm using this opportunity every 15 days to nudge all of us that let us keep working on it, let us keep co-creating. and I'm also trying to find some better technological solutions. Hopefully every time we do something better. This time I have also used Facebook Live. I don't know how much it is working right now. I'll see it later. So this nudges there. I know that just 45 minutes talking is not going to transform people, but this is just keeps the energy level high, keeps you in this mode, so that you keep working. With this good wish, I would like to end today's closing, and thank you so much for joining me.